Hello student, I am your Adi sir, lecturer in physics, सुलग्ना हायर सेकेंडरी स्कूल. स्टूडेंट वेलकम टू माय चैनल. तो प्रीवियसली हम डिस्कस किए थे जो एप्लीकेशन फर्स्ट एप्लीकेशन है गॉस लॉ का, जो हम एक यूनिफॉर्मली चार्ज इन्फानाइट लॉन्ग वायर लिए थे, उसके बेसिस पे हम सम डिस्टेंस में एक इलेक्ट्रिक फील्ड निकाले थे यूजिंग गॉस लॉ. सो आज जो हम डिस्कस करेंगे, जो नेक्स्ट एप्लीकेशन होगा गॉस लॉ का सेकंड एप्लीकेशन होगा, जहां हम एक स्पेरिकल सेल लेंगे. जो स्पेरिकल सेल मतलब स्पेरिकल स्पीयर, इट इज़ लाइक ए बॉल. हम एक स्पेरिकल सेल लेंगे जिसके बेसिस पे जो यूनिफॉर्मली चार्ज होगा, उसके बेसिस पे हम बाहर, सेल का बाहर और सेल के अंदर इलेक्ट्रिक फील्ड निकालेंगे. तो स्टूडेंट प्रीवियस क्लास जो हम डिस्कस किए थे, जो फर्स्ट एप्लीकेशन था गॉस लॉ का एप्लीकेशन, फर्स्ट एप्लीकेशन था पार्ट 1, जो था एक स्ट्रेट लाइन वायर, लाइन चार्ज, यूनिफॉर्मली चार्ज डिस्ट्रीब्यूटेड, जिसके बाहर हम एक सिलिंड्रिकल गॉसियन सरफेस लिए थे. तो उसके बेसिस में मैं लास्ट 2 पॉइंट लिखा था कि इफ़ लैम्बडा इज ग्रेटर देन 0 एंड इफ़ लैम्बडा इज लेस देन 0. सी इफ़ लैम्बडा इज ग्रेटर देन 0, व्हाट इज लैम्बडा? This is surface charge density. We know that surface charge density equal to the total charge divided by total surface area. If charge is positive, then lambda definitely positive. So this charge is positive. Then the electric field line is radially outward. What I have told in this statement, if lambda is greater than 0, then electric field line will be radially outward from the surface, from this Gaussian surface. So in the second case, I have discussed if lambda is less than 0. Less than 0 means if charge is negative. So in the wire, long state infinite wire, if charge distributed is negative, then I can say the electric field is inward. Okay. So in that case, if I have discussed if lambda is less than 0, then I can say the electric field lines are radially inward. I can say the electric field lines are radially inward. Okay, that's it. This was the doubt given by a student. So next, going to the next part. So today is the next application of Gauss law, application of Gauss law part 2. In that application we will discuss about electric field due to an uniformly charged spherical cell. So I want to see what is spherical cell. See, I am showing this ball. This is a ball, means this is a sphere structure. This is a sphere. Inside the ball is hollow. So I can say this is a spherical cell, and I will take a charge inside this ball or at the center of this ball, or I can say at the center of the spherical cell. I will take a charge at the center of a spherical cell. Then what I will do? I will take one Gaussian surface. So say my hand, upper surface of my hand is the Gaussian surface. So I will take the Gaussian surface outward the spherical cell, and also I will take the Gaussian surface on the surface of the ball, and third case I will take the Gaussian surface inside that ball. This is the charge sphere. The charge is present here. So inside the ball I will take the Gaussian surface, outside the ball I will take the Gaussian surface, and on the surface of this ball I will take the Gaussian surface. In 3 cases I will discuss the electric field. So I can say this is like a spherical cell. So let's draw the diagram. So in the diagram section I will take a spherical cell. I will take a spherical cell. Okay, I am taking like this. Okay, so I will take a spherical cell. This is the charge on the surface of the cell, which is uniformly distributed. In the discussion section I have told at the center of the charge, but at the center in between the cell there is no charge. The charge is only on the surface of this ball or of this cell. See, this is the center of the surface spherical cell. So I will take, this is O point, then I can say this is the radius. This thickness is negligible, so I can say this is the radius of the spherical cell, which is uniformly charged. Then I will take a Gaussian surface. I will take a Gaussian surface just outside the spherical cell. I will take a Gaussian surface just outside the spherical cell. Let's say this is a point P point. So this Gaussian surface is also a sphere. Then I will take the radius. The radius is smaller. So the radius of the Gaussian surface, the spherical Gaussian surface, is smaller. Then this is the small area I have taken. Then what about the electric field? See, I will take the direction of electric field is like this. If I will take the charge here, so Gaussian surface here, spherical surface here, then I will take the electric field like this. If I will take the Gaussian surface spherical cell here, then I will take the electric field like this. So the electric field is always radially outward for the Gaussian surface and edge taking the center same for spherical cell and Gaussian surface. So electric field is radially outward, and I can say this is the small area ds. I can say this is the small area ds. Then I can write this is ds vector. So ds vector and electric field is in the same direction. Okay. So next part is the derivation part, where we will take the outside the cell. See, this is the spherical cell, charged spherical cell, where we have taken a Gaussian surface, Gaussian sphere just outside the cell having radius r. We want to find out the electric field at point P. So outside the cell, let charge plus q is distributed uniformly over surface of the spherical cell of radius r. So this is the spherical cell of radius r, where total plus q charge is distributed uniformly. Second point, let's take a Gaussian sphere S with center O and radius r. So we have taken a Gaussian sphere S with center O and radius r. Then third point is, let electric field at point P on Gaussian surface is E vector, where OP equal to r. So P पॉइंट में जो इलेक्ट्रिक फील्ड निकालेंगे वो ई वेक्टर होगा, जहाँ ओ पी रेडियस होगा तुम्हारा आर. ओके, सो लेट्स गो टू द डेरिवेशन सेक्शन. सो अकॉर्डिंग टू गॉस लॉ, according to Gauss theorem, I can write the total flux due to the spherical cell is equal to the closed surface integral of the electric field dot product of electric field and area vector. So this can be written as closed surface integral E into ds. What is E? It is the magnitude of E. And what is ds vector? What is ds? Magnitude of ds vector. Then we can write E ds cos theta. Then we want to find out the angle between E and ds. See the diagram. This is the electric field vector direction. This is the area vector direction ds. So what is the angle? Here I can say theta equal to 0 degree. So I will write here theta equal to 0 degree. Then what will happen? See, this is the closed surface integration E ds cos 0 degree, or I can write E I have take common, then I can write closed surface integration of ds. What is closed surface integration of ds? See, this is a spherical cell or sphere, volumetric. Okay, then what is the surface area of this sphere? Total surface area, I can say that integration, closed surface integration of ds means total surface area of the sphere is equal to 4 pi small r square. Why small r square? Here I am talking about the Gaussian surface, not the spherical cell. I am talking about the Gaussian surface. So I can write this equal to, so this flux, I can write flux, total flux equal to E into 4 pi r square. I can write E into 4 pi r square. I will take, this is equation 1. Then from statement of Gauss law, I also know that the flux is equal to the total charge enclosed by the surface, Gaussian surface, divided by epsilon naught. I can also say that this is equation 2. So this is equation 1, this is equation 2. The both LHS are same. So I can write from equation 1 and 2. From 1 and 2, I can write what? E into 4 pi r square equal to Q by epsilon naught. From equation 1 and 2, I can write E 4 pi r square equal to Q by epsilon naught. That implies I can write E equal to 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught Q by r square. I can write E equal to 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught Q by r square. This is equation 3. Then here see, what is r? R is the radius of Gaussian sphere. Okay, r is the radius of Gaussian sphere. So electric field outside the sphere, I can say outside the charge sphere, I can say 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught Q by r square. Then in the second part, I will take that electric field on the cell, on the charged spherical cell. So point 2, I can tell electric field on the uniformly charged spherical cell. Okay, I will take, see, in that case I will take, this is the spherical cell. Okay, this is the spherical cell where uniformly positive charge is distributed. This is the center. This is the radius of the spherical cell. This is the radius of the spherical cell. Now I will take the Gaussian surface on this cell, on this spherical cell. Means I can say the small r, which is the radius of the Gaussian surface, is equal to capital R. What is capital R? Capital is the R is the radius of the charge sphere. So here Gaussian surface is on the surface of the charge sphere. In that case, I can write this formula E equal to, we have derived this formula first, E equal to 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught Q by r square. In that case, what I will write? In place of small r, I will write capital R. See what I will write? 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught Q by capital R square. Why capital R square? Because here the Gaussian surface radius is also capital R. Here is the Gaussian surface. In this surface of the charge cell, we have taken the Gaussian surface. Next part, I will discuss here surface charge density. Surface charge density, we know that sigma. Okay, sigma we have discussed previously. Sigma equal to total charge by total area. Total charge by total area, or this is surface area. Surface area. So this is a spherical cell. Then what is the surface area? 4 pi r square. Then this can be written as Q by 4 pi r square. This is the surface charge. Okay, charge on the surface of the spherical cell. So surface area of the spherical cell is 4 pi r square. So I can write sigma equal to Q by 4 pi r square. then I can write the surface charge density sigma equal to q by 4 pi r square. That can also be written as the total charge equal to sigma into 4 pi r square. Now I will write the formula of electric field on the surface of the sphere 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught q by capital R square. In place of q, I will write sigma 4 pi r square. That implies that equal to I can write 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught. In place of q, I will write sigma 4 pi r square divided by r square. So this r square will cancel out. This 4 pi will cancel out. Then I can write the electric field on the surface of the charge sphere is equal to total charge divided by epsilon naught. Sorry. This is not total charge. I can write electric field on the surface of the charge sphere. Electric field on the surface of the charge sphere, I can write this sigma by epsilon naught. This equal to sigma by epsilon naught. This is the electric field on the surface of the charge sphere. This is independent of radius. So the electric field is independent of radius. This is surface charge density divided by epsilon naught. Then we will discuss about third part. Third part is what? So in the third part, electric field inside the cell. See, this is the charged sphere. I have taken the dotted line sphere is the Gaussian sphere which is inside the cell. Say this is the charged sphere. I have taken the Gaussian surface is inside this sphere, means the radius of the Gaussian surface definitely less than the radius of the charged spherical cell. So here let's consider a Gaussian sphere of radius small r inside the spherical cell, that is r is less than capital R. Small r is less than capital R. Capital R is the radius of the charged spherical cell. So net charge inside the Gaussian sphere is 0. This is the charged surface. But inside the Gaussian sphere there is no charge. So I can say according to Gauss law the flux equal to 0, and I can say the electric field equal to 0 inside the charged sphere. Okay, this is 3 point. So in the note point I have discussed that inside the Gaussian surface charge is not present, means electric field is 0. So let's discuss the graph. So first part I will take that electric field inside the cell. If electric field inside the cell means this is the radius of the cell, I will take the graph between electric field and the radius of the Gaussian surface. This is the radius of the charged spherical cell, not Gaussian surface. So when I have taken that electric field inside the cell, inside the charged sphere, means definitely the small r is less than capital R. So in that section, in this section, here small r is less than capital R. In this section, this point, in that point, capital R equal to small r. But beyond that point, I will write capital R is less than small r. So this small r less than capital R means the Gaussian surface is inside the spherical cell. So inside the spherical cell we got that electric field equal to 0. Okay, so in that section electric field equal to 0 up to what? Up to capital R equal to small r. What is capital R equal to small r? Capital R equal to small r means we have taken the Gaussian surface on the surface of the charged sphere. Mean second case. Second case, what is E? E equal to sigma by epsilon naught. So when R equal to small r, then that is a constant electric field we will get. So we will get a constant electric field. Let's say this constant electric field is equal to sigma by epsilon naught, or what I can say, this equal to 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught q by capital R square. This is also I can say, okay, or I can also say 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught q by small r square. Why I can say small r square? Why I can say capital R square? See, small r equal to capital R. At that point, small r equal to capital R. So, this is a constant electric field when small r equal to capital R. But when small r just beyond that point, small r is greater than capital R. Small r is greater than capital R means the electric field decreases with a constant proportion that E is inversely proportional to R square. In that rate, electric field will decreases. Why? Because I have discussed when small r is greater than capital R, then what is the formula we have got? See, 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught q by R square. See, this part is constant. But what thing is varying? This radius of the Gaussian sphere will vary. So, in the note section of Gauss law, I have told about that electric field is inversely proportional to radius square. Electric field is inversely proportional to radius square. So, we will get the graph like this. This is the graph for electric field produced due to a spherical shell, inside the spherical shell, on the spherical shell, and outside the spherical shell. That's all about the second application of Gauss law. So, let's discuss about two problems from NCERT. So, this is the problem NCERT 1.18. See the question. First we will read the question. A point charge of 10 microcoulomb is at distance 5 cm directly above the center of a square of side 10 cm. Center of a square of side 10 cm directly above means, see, the question, in question the square is given, okay, in question square is given whose side is 10 cm, or I can say this is 0.1 meter, this is 0.1 meter. So you will tell that it will not a square. So I will draw it a square, like a square. So it will look like a square. Okay. Then a charge is situated directly above the center of the square 5 cm above, means this q charge is equal to given 10 microcoulomb. Okay, then what is the magnitude of electric flux through the square? वो पूछ रहा है कि प्लस क्यू चार्ज के वजह से ये स्क्वायर के अंदर से कितना फ्लक्स पास करेगा. सो वी वांट टू फाइंड आउट द फ्लक्स, इलेक्ट्रिक फ्लक्स थ्रू द स्क्वायर. सो व्हाट विल डू, I will draw it as a complete cube. So what I will do, see, I will redraw this square. This part. So this was the square. I have made it a cube. So in the question it is given that 10 microcoulomb charge is at the distance 5 centimeter directly above the center of the square. So this is a square part from the center directly above 5 centimeter. So see, this is the height 10 centimeter, or I can say this is the height 10 centimeter. So I can say the charge is situated at the center of this cube. The charge is situated at the center of the cube. So now I will take this cube as a Gaussian surface. Now I can take this cube as a Gaussian surface which encloses charge q, which is equal to 10 microcoulomb. Okay, then I want to find out the total flux passing through this total cube. So I can write the total flux equal to q by epsilon naught. This q equal to 10 microcoulomb means 10 into 10 to the power minus 6 coulomb by epsilon naught. I know 8.854 into 10 to the power minus 12. Okay, so I can find out So I can find out the total flux is equal to 0.113 into 10 to the power 7 Newton meter square coulomb minus 2. The flux through the total cube, but I want to find out the flux through the square. See, the total cube contain 6 square face. Okay, so flux through the square, I can say flux through the square surface is equal to the total flux divided by 6. Why 6? Because the total flux is passing through the 6 square face. So flux through one face is equal to total flux by 6. This can be written as 0.113 into 10 to the power 7 divided by 6, or I can write 0.0188 into 10 to the power 7, or I can write 1.88 into 10 to the power 5 Newton meter square coulomb minus 1. That's it. That is NCERT problem 1.18. Hope you will understand. Okay, thank you.